Hello, I am Steph Plaster, Farm Management Outreach Specialist with the UW-Madison Division of Extension. In this video, my colleague John Shutske, UW-Madison Professor and Extension Specialist, and I will address how you can set your technology investment strategy to ensure farm business success. Technology is coming for us whether we like it or not. If we set our strategy now, we can build our future. Technology is one of the principal drivers of competition and causes significant structural changes within industries. Not all changes are strategically beneficial or profitable, so we want to provide you with a couple of key questions that can help you assess whether a technology change would provide you with a competitive advantage or worsen your position. This video will briefly address the evolution of automation and technology in the agriculture sector, introduce the concept of investment, and give you 5 key questions to thoughtfully ask yourself and your business partners when considering automation, technology, or other large-scale improvements on the farm. This video will help you build your decision-making framework, help you evaluate your options, and start the conversation about tech and automation on the farm.
Hey, thanks, and hello everybody. My name is John Shutske. I am a specialist in biological systems engineering here at UW-Madison. My work in agricultural engineering includes work in research and also extension programming. A lot of that is now on issues connected to new technology. We're talking about things here like automation, highly automated equipment, robotics, and eventually fully autonomous machines that will be used for both plant as well as animal production. This includes things like field machines, obviously tractors, harvesters, applicators, as well as highly automated or fully autonomous feeding equipment or animal care equipment. Most of you are probably seeing this happen around you, or you may be experiencing it yourself. In my work, I do partner with some of the large original equipment manufacturers, some of whom you may recognize by either name or paint color, as well as some of the smaller players. And this includes smaller startup companies, inventors, and other people like myself at the land-grant universities around the US. There are a number of different important forces that will continue to drive us forward toward increased adoption of technology in the future. Obviously, if you're actively involved in farming or some related agricultural business, you are probably keenly aware of the labor issue. I routinely talk to other producers, both on the animal side as well as the crop side, including, by the way, the dairy industry. And I hear of farmers who are really struggling to find good people. They might be placing paid ads, they might be using Facebook, Craigslist, or some other type of social media platform. But the bottom line is finding workers is tough. There's a lot of competition for good help. And that's probably not likely to dramatically change, at least here in the foreseeable future. A second driving issue is safety, or as you see, D to the third power, which is a way in which some other similar industries have characterized themselves. I'm talking about industries that have a collection of work or tasks that might be considered to be dull, dirty, or dangerous. Other D3 industries like mining, construction, and especially manufacturing have begun to gradually move forward toward more and more levels of automation over the last couple of decades. And for a lot of those businesses and a lot of those industries, it's really begun to pay dividends. Farming, production agriculture, is, by the way, considered to be the country's most dangerous industry. And that's a fact that is increasingly being looked at by new workers who are considering employment in agriculture. We can also potentially use automation and autonomy for improving sustainability. We can potentially handle production inputs in a more thoughtful and precise way, sometimes even targeting inputs and practices toward individual animals or even plants, or at least looking at precise areas of fields or other locations of production. One of the questions that I get from time to time is this move toward higher and higher levels of automation real? Or is it just hype that's being generated by the media or maybe by the equipment companies? I can tell you from my work and my travels around this country, and to some extent around the world, It is real, although it's probably not going to happen overnight. If you look at agriculture over decades or even over centuries, we have seen some amazing innovation. Some of this has been in biology, like the understanding of animals or plant genetics, or through the understanding and application of chemistry. But huge changes have happened through mechanization and advancements in innovation. As we rolled out of the 1800s, we saw animal power slowly give way, at least partially, to steam engines. Then, shortly after that, the internal combustion engine on tractors. After World War II, rubber tires replaced steel wheels. And in the 1950s, tractors and other machines pretty much took over for animal power. But that transition that we're talking about took 50 to 60 years. Then we moved into the 1960s and 70s, and we began to see electronic monitors of all types. Then the 1990s saw the application of GPS, or global positioning systems. Now we see smartphones, apps, the ability to control machines and processes remotely through the internet or other types of wireless technology. So we are now in a time of even more rapid advancement, and these changes will continue to happen in the 2020s and the 2030s. These technologies will include highly automated or autonomous machines that will be enabled and propelled by things you've probably heard of: machine learning, artificial intelligence, to name a couple of those. Both are beginning to move forward at light speed. So the change that we're talking about, the answer is yes, it is coming. The question is, will you be prepared?
As John just mentioned, automation and advanced technologies are here now with even more complex systems on the horizon. These are rapidly evolving and offer so much potential for the future of our farms and the agriculture industry. Adopting these technologies often requires a significant investment in restructuring of the farm's operations. These are large decisions that will impact the farm business and family for years and require adequate planning and preparation. When we talk about investing in the future, it helps to define what investing means. Investment is the process of expending resources, like time and money, for the purpose of achieving greater outcomes. Outcomes can include increased profits, more time, labor savings, a different or better lifestyle, or the ability to bring on another partner or successor to the business. A key component of investment is the process of setting your intentions relating to those resources and outcomes by setting a strategy or plan. A technology strategy addresses what technologies are available, what are relevant to your farm, what are the advantages or disadvantages of being on the leading edge or an early adopter, which technologies will provide you with a competitive advantage, what the cost of implementation will be, and what the staying power of the technology and its advantage is. John and I have developed 5 key questions to thoughtfully ask yourself and your business partners when considering investing in automation, technology, or other large-scale improvements on the farm. We hope these will help you start to frame your investment strategy or plan. If you are able, grab a piece of paper and something to write with and see if you can answer some of these questions as we go through them. You have to start somewhere, and even just scratching this out as we go is a step in the right direction. Never underestimate the power and importance of physically writing something down that can have on your motivation and sense of control. The first question to ask yourself is, what issue or challenge are you hoping to solve? This question is asking you to examine your true motivations for wanting or considering this piece of technology for the farm. Understanding what is driving your decisions can help you evaluate whether this will be worth both the financial cost and the inevitable discomfort of the adoption transition period. With such a large investment, it is crucial to be able to define the unique value the piece of technology or equipment will bring, especially when compared to options with less costs or operational restructuring required. To define the unique value the piece of technology or equipment will bring, we can break it down to 2 components. 1, the challenge or issue being addressed, and 2, the solution offered by the technology. Can you specifically identify the what and the how? The more specifically you can describe the issue and the solution, the easier and stronger the decision will be. Be as specific and realistic as possible. This is your opportunity to explore your own motivations or those of your business partners pushing you towards this change. Be brutally honest throughout this whole process so you don't trick yourself into something you will regret. You want to avoid making impulse decisions based on wanting to be the first on the block to have something new and shiny, or to theoretically save on your taxes. The sense of FOMO, or the fear of missing out, is often a driver of quick decisions folks come to regret. Penciling out exactly what value the technology brings and how it will deliver on the value can be a check on our FOMO. This is also the time to define how labor needs will change with the adoption of this technology. Will you need to cut some positions? Will you need to add more skilled labor? Which roles will need to be redefined or shifted? Are you ready to make those cuts, reassign, or hire the skilled positions you need? What kinds of trainings or education will be needed? Will the farm's labor crisis really be solved by moving to more autonomous equipment, or will it just shift the problem area? Have you examined your farm's culture and retention strategies to see if there's a solution that requires less restructuring and debt? We will touch on longevity a bit later, but it is also necessary to consider the usable life of this equipment. Will you be ready or willing to shake things up and upgrade at the end of 5, 10, or 15 years? Are you willing to have a technology succession plan? And speaking of succession, what is the willingness of the owner or the successor generation to take on these changes? Or on the debt? Even if you are sure that new technology or automation is the answer, take some time to explore alternative options to solving the challenge you are facing. Being creative and not excluding any ideas at first helps you make more thoughtful and deliberate decisions and ensures that you will choose the best possible solution for the future. The second key question to answer is, what are your skills and interests? This might seem like a silly question when considering autonomous equipment, but it could make or break the success of the technology adoption or change management process. Enjoying what you do and leaning on your strengths and passions can help build resilience into your farm and let you nimbly navigate through the tougher times. Playing to your strengths and minimizing your weaknesses is a solid strategy to set you on the right path. When it comes to choosing which system or piece of equipment is the best fit for your farm, identifying your comfort level with various components of this transition to more advanced technological systems can help. Start by identifying your comfort level with technology in general. Are you excited for the newest and latest gadgets or phones? Do you like learning new computer programs or looking at data on a computer or a printout? What about complexity? Are you one who prefers things the simpler the better, or do you like to manage complex problems and systems? Risk tolerance is really getting at a farm business's ability to be able to take a hit and recover. Do you generally have a higher risk tolerance, or do you prefer lower risk ventures? Are you comfortable managing risks and investing in mitigation measures like insurance or training? What about support systems? Do you have close family, friends, neighbors, professionals, or community members you can rely on to help you navigate the challenges and provide you with either a distraction or some stress relief? Transitional change discomfort might make or break your adoption process and success. This tends to be a tripping point for many people in farms. Adopting a new piece of technology or equipment is inevitably going to bring challenges along with it. There's going to be a learning curve, inevitable breakdowns, a potential drop in production, a cash crunch, a parade of new people from sales to consultants to service providers to lenders, and a restructuring of roles and responsibilities. Are you willing to weather 18 months or more of gnarly times, as John likes to say, while establishing a new routine and operating model? The meaningfulness of work is another piece that goes along with the change of discomfort. Will you find your work meaningful if you spend more time on a computer or phone instead of with the cows or in the cab? There are no right or wrong answers when it comes to these components of the technology adoption process. It's important to include your individual and team preferences when identifying the correct production system for you and your farm. Your experiences will shape your success, so it's important to adapt it to your needs. If you are looking for a tool to help you navigate some of these issues, Performing a gap analysis can help. A gap analysis helps you compare your current performance with your potential or your desired future performance goals. It asks you to identify where you are now and where you want to be in order to help you figure out how you can get there to that desired future or vision you are striving for. A SWOT analysis, or an examination of the internal strengths and weaknesses and external opportunities and threats, is a common tool used to help you identify areas you are doing well in, areas that need to be improved, and opportunities available. This is useful when considering a new technology and whether it will make life easier by solving an issue or challenge like we discussed with the last question, or if it will just shift the problem area. This is also a good time to revisit the labor needs. Can you identify specifically what the strengths and weaknesses are related to labor on the farm? For example, is consistent timing an issue when it comes to getting the cows fed and the feed pushed? What kind of production improvement would you see if you invested in autonomous feeding and pushing equipment that never missed a shift? Our Extension Farm Management website, linked below, has additional resources and worksheets available to help walk you through the process of a SWOT analysis and strategy identification. The third question to ask yourself is, do you have broadband internet access that you consider both accessible and affordable? John has done quite a bit of work in this area and is going to walk us through a couple things to think about when addressing this issue.
One of the things that is very often overlooked as individual farms and businesses begin to invest in new technology is broadband internet access. Now, by formal definition, what we're talking about is the ability to connect to the internet. It could be through either a mobile device or a fixed unit like a desktop computer, but we're talking about a speed of at least 25 megabits per second for downloading and 3 megabits per second for uploading data. If you're not sure what your local capability is or your broadband capacity on your unit, there are free apps that can be downloaded and used either on a smartphone or a computer to help you to estimate your speed. I generally tell people that if they can reliably stream movies on Netflix or YouTube's, as long as they're not doing super high definition, they're probably right at that threshold. But what's really important is to consider all of the uses on your farm, including the uses in the home that might actually have an impact on your internet service. We might be talking about kids doing homework or doing social media uploads, those sorts of things, or simply watching TV in many cases can impact your overall speed within a household or on a business location. So if you're sharing an internet connection with other people, you've got to be careful and take that into consideration. In 2019 and in 2022, here at UW-Madison, we did publish some work. We did a large survey of about 1,000 farm households, and sadly, we found that about 1 in 5 of our farm households here in this state do not have reliable, affordable access to broadband. For many forms of technology, especially mobile equipment, it's pretty likely that all areas of the farm will need those strong both upload and download capabilities. I would encourage that you also take a great deal of caution if you're considering some of the other, I guess I'll call them satellite-based technologies. They may work really, really well if your device is being used in a single location, but it is hard sometimes to use these newer services, these newer technologies for mobile applications, including smartphones or other machines that might need a signal while they're moving.
Our fourth key question asks, do you have the service infrastructure located in an area where you are likely to get timely, quality, and affordable service for your new technology?
It's also really important to ask questions of your technology supplier or vendor. Our research shows that it's proving to be a real challenge for local technology companies who want to hire excellent people with technology skills to work in and service agricultural areas of Wisconsin. Some questions to ask: will they have the service personnel who can help you with startup and working through some of those kinks and hiccups that you might have with a new system? Will they be able to support you remotely if a service technician cannot come out and travel to your farm? What will a service call actually look like if you need support? What will the wait time and response time be? The bottom line is you need to go into these decisions eyes wide open and ask lots of questions.
The final question we have for this video is, of course, how comfortable are you with your farm's finances? It's a simple question that can often cause the most strife. John and I cannot stress enough how important it is to understand your current financial position and all the acronyms, ratios, and measures that you will hear mentioned by everyone from the salesperson to your lender, accountant, or presenter at a conference or exhibition. You will hear many numbers tossed your way and will likely see many projections through the exploration process. It is crucial for you to understand where numbers or projections are coming from, how they relate to your specific business or enterprise, and whether or not they look realistic to you. Don't be afraid to push back on figures you are presented with. Set brutally honest expectations for yourself so you get to realize profit in the end. If you are presented with performance measures for a new system, can you compare it to your own? Do you understand the analysis? Do you have current performance measures or goals to compare it to? The more prepared you are, the better the outcome will be. Spend some time exploring company websites, reading case studies or interviews with folks who have installed and operated these systems, and check to see if a university has verified or tested some of these measures. Part of this process is understanding the true costs of the systems you are going to move into. It may be easier for you to identify the upfront costs of the systems, but do you know the cost of annual maintenance, the timing and requirements of upgrades, costs of any subscription services that might be needed, the cost of replacement parts or service fees? How long does it take to receive those replacement parts? What about the cost and usage of utilities like internet, water, gas, or electricity? These can be real shocks to folks when they start seeing an unexpected increase in utility bills. Have you penciled out how the cost of your inputs will change? What types of chemicals will you need and in what quantities? How does that compare to your current usage? How accurate are the variable costs for your specific operation? Two terms you will regularly hear when talking about purchasing these systems is the ROI, or return on investment, and the IRR, or internal rate of return. Do you know how these are calculated? Can you ground truth how these figures are calculated? These are two key measures used to give you confidence in your investment decision. These measures are incredibly valuable, yet can be subjective. They are only as good as the assumptions placed into them. Look at the numbers used in the calculations to ensure the economic assumptions fit your specific operation rather than an ideal farm's. At the end of the day, it is critical to identify if the farm will have the capacity to achieve financial and production performance goals and objectives. In this video, we briefly addressed the evolution of automation and technology in the agriculture sector, introduced the idea of an investment, and gave you 5 key questions to thoughtfully ask yourself and your business partners when considering investing in automation, technology, or other large-scale investments on the farm. Hopefully this helps you build your decision-making framework and starts the conversation about tech and automation on the farm.
The final thing that I want to leave you with is access to this publication. 12 things that you can do now when moving toward higher levels of agricultural technology. Now, this was written in response to some of the very practical questions that we're getting in my program. It includes some good information from some of my other colleagues around the country, including Willie Vogt. Some of you might recognize Willie, who is an editor and director with the Farm Progress publications. Have a look.
That's it for this video. Visit our Extension Farm Management website at farms.extension.wisc.edu to find additional resources to help you set your technology investment strategy. We have articles and worksheets available to help you answer those key questions and explore tools like the SWOT analysis, financial analysis, and strategy setting. The link to those resources can be found below, and you can find other videos in this Farm Management Fridays Investing in the Future of the Farm series playlist. Feel free to reach out to our program with questions, and thanks for watching.